Hello there, and welcome to Dr. T for May the 19th. That's today. We're going to start with Stage 1 that has a great big boom cannon right there in the middle of the... well, in the middle of the front of the HQ. So obviously, land all your guys right-hand side. They're going to start blowing up boxes and puddles of goo and whatnot. And you're going to take all that free GBE and you're going to throw it right at that boom cannon. And with luck, you should be able to take out said boom cannon without any real difficulties. Once the boom cannon's down, you can just let your troops kind of stroll up and take their natural path, where they'll go through and they'll blow up the mortars on the right-hand side. They're really low-level mortars, so they shouldn't do anything incredibly scary to your tanks. But if you're really worried about it, you can heal yourself instead of throwing a bunch of barrage at the HQ. Moving on to Stage 2. Stage 2 is one of those long, we're going to get the ladies in the tank some cardio type attacks, where you're going to land on the far right-hand side, and your tanks are going to start going through and blowing up defenseless buildings. And while your tanks are running around doing that, you're going to focus on the left-hand side where there's a shock launcher, and you're just going to pour your GBE into taking out that stupid shock launcher. If you have spare GBE over at the end, by all means, you can take out the cannon closest to the machine gun. But if you can't, then that's totally okay. You don't have to do it. Your tanks can take out that cannon, and you can just shock it or do whatever, you need to do. Because your tanks will get a whole bunch of extra GBE, honestly, and then come down and naturally just start killing the crap out of the cannons. Now, one of the tricks is once you kill that first cannon that's way out in front of the HQ, you want to flare down to the south to get out of range of the boom cannon, and also it will take out the second cannon, which is a good thing. And then your tanks will just roll right in on the HQ and have the perfect range to not get shot by the boom cannon. And then you can throw a whole bunch of barrages at the HQ and win really quickly. Or maybe that's just me. Whatever. The point is, you should have a fairly easy go of it and get some fat loot. Moving on to Stage 3, which... it's definitely an interesting one. So, there's a boom cannon on the right-hand side, and you can take that out with GBE. If you flank around the left-hand side, it still has range if you're kind of sitting there trying to snipe at the HQ, so I kind of went with the going up through all the defenses, because I figured it would, killing all these easy machine guns and stuff would give you enough GBE to actually take out that boom cannon. But by all means, if, you don't need to worry about it, you could cut left, take out, a few clusters of defenses, and just barrage the boom cannon and roll into a nice easy win. Whatever, is easiest for you. If you are going up the right-hand side, though, because you actually do need that GBE, you should be able to take out all the machine guns, and then you're going to move on to the flamethrower. Once the flamethrower is done, flare hard right, or, well, yeah, I call it hard right. I guess it's regular right, because I didn't go all the way over to the line. You should be able to take out the rocket launcher, which is going to be one of the few defenses that still has range on you, and then your tanks should roll up on the cannon, and then once the cannon goes down, you can flare all the way over to the line, which would be, I guess, more appropriately the hard right, and then from right about there, your troops will snipe away at the HQ. Sniper towers are all out of the way. You will have a rocket launcher firing at you, but honestly, it's not that high of a rocket launcher, and it shouldn't be that big of an issue, where, it's going to actually start taking your tanks down. With luck, obviously, if you have some very low-level tanks, it's possible, so throw some medkits whenever you can to make life easier on your tanks, or if you've got medics, make sure you drop some medics. Alright, moving on to Stage 4. Stage 4 We're going up the middle, so things get interesting. What you're gonna do is drop left-hand side, get the free GBE because why not, and then flare your tanks because they're gonna want to do crazy things up just, I guess, southeast of that cannon. Then there is a boom cannon up on the top that you're gonna have to take out with barrage and artillery because it's just in a really awkward place. And hopefully you saw the boom mine that I blew up that was just beside the machine gun. You're going to have to take that out as well because that is pretty much your target point. Like, that's where you want to be flaring your tanks once you take out the first two defenses. And so burn that into your head when you first take a look at the level where that boom mine is. Because by rolling over that boom mine, pretty much you are right in the middle between the boom cannon on the left and the boom cannon on the right, and you should be able to roll through. Now let your troops take out that cannon, but the second that cannon drops, you need to flare up to pretty much where I dropped that flare, because otherwise your tanks will start drifting towards the boom cannon. If you want to be extra safe, you could drop that flare a little closer to the HQ just to make sure you're a little further out of the way of the boom cannon. But by all means, you know, personal preference, I guess. You can figure things out. Obviously, the further over to the right and closer to the HQ you're flaring, the more defenses will, on the right-hand side, will have range on you. So it kind of depends on what you're cool with. Now, if you're lucky, when you get up into this position, you'll have, you know, some rocket launchers firing at your tanks, and if you're lucky like me, that means they're going to be firing right past your tanks onto the medics, who I don't even understand how, like, So, yes, medics are being attacked by the rocket launchers instead of the tanks because I can't even fathom it. I have no idea why, but the point is, it should be a pretty easy win from here. Your medics should have no problems counteracting the rocket launchers firing at them instead of the tanks that are in front of them. Yeah. So, we'll move on to Stage 5. Stage 5 is, again, the, you know, tank cardio level, if you would. You're going to land right-hand side near all the free stuff, and then there's the shock launcher, which is going to have around 17,000 hit points, and the boom cannon that's right next to it. So I used as much barrage as possible on the shock launcher, because it bleeds over and hurts the boom cannon that's nearest. And then there's a boom cannon down in the south, and that's the one I spent all my artillery on. By all means, like, you don't have to take them out immediately, so if you don't have the GBE to take them out right away, as you take out defenses and move in closer to them, you should be able to use the GBE to clear those out. I also took out those two sniper towers, but to be completely honest, I don't think you need to. Like, they're going to be picking away at your tanks. If you don't have the spare GBE, or because your artillery and barrage are so ridiculously expensive after taking down all the stuff, by all means, just leave them there. You might lose a tank or two, but that's kind of the cost of doing business with Dr. T. So, we're slowly moving into the danger zone, because there are two boom cannons immediately behind the HQ. We'll call it behind there. It's kind of in the northeast, whatever. That will very quickly get range on your guys. At the same time, there's this stupid mortar, and you definitely want to kill the shit out of that mortar, because it's a dick. It made fun of your moms. I swear to God, it was so brutal. So after you kill the crap out of the incredibly rude mortar, flare down towards the sniper tower, and you're going to want to hang out on the west side of the sniper tower, and then reflare to make sure everything kind of goes towards the HQ, and then have a drunken tank go down towards the machine guns again, and reflare again to make sure everything goes towards the HQ. Basically what you're trying to do is there's like a dent, I guess, in the range between the boom cannons behind the HQ and then the boom cannons to the like southeast of the HQ. And if you put your tanks roughly where mine are, you will be out of range of both of those, and you will only have to have taken down 2 boom cannons and 1 shock launcher, instead of having to take down like 6 boom cannons, because there's so freaking many of them. It's ridiculous. Anyways, once you're really in this position, you've got the 1 rocket launcher up there at the top that's kind of firing away at you. And don't get me wrong, that rocket launcher is beefy. I didn't even realize until I was halfway through the attack. That thing's like level 13, 14, like it is up there. I don't even know what it's doing there, but with luck, your medic should be able to counter the damage without anything really scary going on. And with that, we will take our loot from Stage 5 and move on to Stage 6, which today it's one of those weird days where like Stage 6 is kind of easier than Stage 5. With Stage 5, you kind of have to balance the GBE and use it on certain targets and hope for the best and crazy things. With Stage 6, you can just roll right up the left-hand side. Let me show you. So, the right-hand side has lots of boom cannons and scary things going on. The left-hand side has 1 shock launcher, which you can throw a couple barrage and artillery at. Definitely at least 1 barrage, because there are some mines around there, and, you know, clearing those out definitely helps. And then you can throw a shock on the first 3 towers when you first land, and if you're slow like me, some critters, and then flare over towards the left-hand side after your critters have cleared some mines for you, and the second clump of sniper towers and whatnot, defenses basically, right in front of the HQ is where you want to go next. And of course, you're going to need to have some tanks bridge off to the right-hand side, nonsensically, and just kind of go wandering, because they want to sow their wild oats. I don't know. Like, I have no idea why those crazy buggers went out there into the middle of nowhere, but by all means, we can pull everybody back together. And then eventually, once you've cleared out those sniper towers and everything, you want to flare down into the very bottom left-hand corner. Even though, yes, you're going to be running yourself onto a shock mine, and you know, you're going to have to smoke probably to keep your medics from getting sniped by the cannon and whatnot. Once you're down into this bottom position, even with that cannon still standing, the only thing that can hit you is that 1 lowly rocket launcher, and it's not going to have a chance in hell of doing anything. So your medics will basically just top everything up, and you'll be able to do a little Irish jig while you wait for the HQ to drop, because I don't know, what else do you do when you're waiting for the HQ to drop? I know occasionally I'll kind of wander off and I'll do something, and then I'll come back and find out, oops, something bad happened while you were away. But, you know, the cat came up and decided to start swatting, and you just shocked your entire contingency of tanks. I don't know. Anyways, moving on to Stage 7, which I did attempt, and it went horribly badly. I tried to go up the left-hand side, and I basically ran out of time, because as usual, I'm not running with any boosts or anything. The left-hand side looks very promising, it's just very long and slow. So the right-hand side, even though it is more defended by boom cannons and shock launchers and whatnot, might be the answer. Also, be really careful of that crazy boom cannon right in front of the HQ, because it has like 40,000 hit points, and you will have to just throw all of your artillery and barrage at it. It's ridiculous. Anyways, guys, Hopefully this preview of 7 has been helpful, and thank you very much for watching. If you have any tips, tricks, hints, like comments, any requests even, if you'd like to see certain things, please throw it down in the comments. Let me know so that I can, have ideas for future videos. And most importantly, have yourselves a great day.